Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lucky Dog Sim Racing Thursday Truck Series here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. We are running Legacy Atlanta Motor Speedway before the reconfiguration into a mini super speedway. So this is the traditional 1.5 mile layout as seen, I do believe, in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2008. Should be I believe it's 2008. It's Legacy Atlanta, and that's what matters. So this was a sister track to Texas. Very bumpy track. It'll be a very, very fun race to watch. 3 lanes that you can run. A lot of speed around the top. Consistency in the middle. But if you can figure out how to run that very, very bumpy bottom lane, there's a lot of speed to be had. A lot of time to be made up on the track. So that's what you're going to be watching is anyone able to make that bottom line work? Is anyone going to be running that Reddick line, ripping the boards up there at the top? Or are they going to be going for that consistency right there in the middle? Many strategies tonight. So go ahead and we'll go down your starting lineup. Starting first, you have the 78 of Gary Slapinski. Starting to his outside, the 777, Mr. Michael Pegg. Starting third will be the 85 of Al Cena. We were talking Tuesday. He's a snake in the grass. If you're not paying attention to him, he will sneak up on you and bite you. So good luck, everybody. Al Cena is starting up front tonight. Starting fourth to his outside is number 9 of John Held. Starting fifth is the 4 of Larry Eddy. Starting sixth, we have the 33 of Gary Ragland. Seventh is the 24 of Everett Lane. Starting eighth, we have the 50 of Todd Willis. 9th, we have the 43 of Sandy Curtis. 10th will be the 59 of Ralph Blair. 11th will be the 129 of Kim Kraus. 12th will be the 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. 13th will be the 1 of George Rincon. Starting 14th will be the 89 of Randolph Richard. 15th, 91 of Joel Guy. 16th, the 40 of Timothy Woodson. And 17th, the 58 of Chris Hogue as we go green. Excellent start there by the bottom. Gary Slapinski, absolute monster start. Is able to clear Michael Pegg well before they even make it to turn 1. So Gary choosing to run that bottom lane. Early on, there's not a whole lot of speed. You don't need to really worry about that car spinning out too much. Down here at this end of the track, running a lot faster. That truck very likely to start spinning out on you. Gary does not have that problem. One of the best drivers we have when it comes to throttle control. Gary will find the edge and he'll keep it there. Michael Pegg sees what Gary's doing. He's trying to mirror it, running down there along that bottom lane. And behind them, that 85. Al Cena's look like we have a couple cars going around. Looks like we got the 1, the 91. No caution yet. Three cars all went around. I guess because they're below the yellow line, iRacing has opted not to throw a caution. So go ahead and we'll back up. We'll see what happened here. These cars getting loose. Coming out of turn 2. Nasty bump. Just there before the transition to turn 2. The truck's getting real loose going through the corner. 90 running up top. 91 looks like he made contact with the outside wall, and that sent him down into the 1. Not certain what happened to the 58. So we'll go back and we'll watch that from his perspective, as he's able to get past these two pretty easily as they spin down the track. Maybe anticipated taking evasive action, and just unfortunately was not able to keep it out of the inside wall. So go ahead and we head back to the front here. Going through turn 2, you can run that outside line. You can run it fairly hard, but there's a kick out there in the turn 2 wall. It's not an even wall the whole way around like you expect to see it like Michigan or Auto Club or even Chicagoland. Chicagoland's wall is a lot more smooth than Atlanta's. Atlanta has several kickouts in it. So if you're going to run that top lane, you have to be aware That wall can come out and bite you, even on fresh tires. As we look and see the pressure Gary Sapinski is under. He's running that bottom, so he may be making better tire wear than Michael Pegg is currently. But Michael Pegg running that middle lane has plenty of momentum that he's getting going through the corners. So Gary Sapinski not able to build any kind of gap here in the early running. Michael Pegg getting closer and closer and closer, right up on the bumper of Gary Sapinski. Gary doing his best to take as much of Michael's line away as he can, try and wear out those front tires. These trucks are simultaneously plowing tight and crashing loose. And so if we have a caution, we'll likely end up talking to these guys about their tire wear, and you're going to be hearing folks saying, oh man, that right front felt like it was gone, but the right rear even more so. And Gary Sapinski moving up to the middle, mirroring the line that Michael Pegg is running. We'll go ahead and we'll take a look a little further back. We'll pop back to the 50 of Todd Willis, currently running back here in the 7th position, started 8th. You can see where most folks are choosing to run the top of that middle lane. The bottom of the top lane is where a lot of folks are. The 50, the 52, 43 behind them, 24 of Everett Lane, all of them running that. Sandy looking towards the bottom there on the 52. Look to see if he can make a pass. It's going to be hard to pass here at this track if you can't get to the guy in front of you who's outside. Otherwise, you're going to have to dive it on into the corner and dive it deep. Hope you can get that slide job done. There's so much on throttle time here in these trucks. And as iRacing updates the tracks, they recently did their paved oval overhaul, so these tracks now rubber in. As they update the setups on these trucks, we have a caution. Currently not certain where that was. I'm not seeing really anyone off pace. We'll go ahead and we'll back it up. Previous lap. See what happened. Not entirely certain. The 91 was the only person I saw. I saw a puff of smoke there, but I don't see what brought this caution out. 91 was the only one who was really far away from everybody else. So I wonder if maybe something happened with him, but does not appear so. As we are 11 laps into this race, everybody coming down pit road to get tires, with the exception of the number 1, George Rincon, and the 91 of Joel Guy. These two involved in that incident we saw very early on. So these two choosing to stay out. And what they'll do is they'll get a wave around, which will put them back on the lead lap, I believe. I think Joel currently scored 2 laps down, and actually it looks like George is our lucky dog. So the 91 Joel Guy staying out. He'll be getting one of his laps back. He only has 7 laps on these tires. See how that changes things. But what the other thing this does is brings another aspect of this race that we haven't talked about at all, and that's fuel mileage. These trucks only have between 40 and 45 laps of fuel, depending on how you're running. Gary Sapinski, he was running the bottom, likely towards the higher end of that, because there's a fair amount of throttle control that has to happen there at the bottom. But with this stop here on lap 11, all of these guys should be able to make it to the end on one stop. The question is, do you want to run that hard, that long on old tires? Well, as the number 1 of George Rincon comes down pit road to get his service, go ahead and see if we want to pull up an interview a little bit, so get an idea of what's going on in these cars. And I think, if he's not too busy, go ahead and we'll talk to this gentleman right here, the number 9 of John Held. So let's see if we can get him up here. Hey, John, it's William in the booth. You got me?
Hey, I got you.
Hey, it's good seeing you out here, John. We're 13 laps into this race. How's truck feeling?
Pretty good. Maybe I used a little more wear on the right front, but it wasn't bad at all. So I took tires anyways. Hope we'll get a long run here.
Should be. I mean, I noticed that we had a few folks getting squirrely there on old tires. Speaking of the truck feeling a little squirrely, as you're going around the track, is there any pros and cons you're seeing to the 3 lanes we have available?
Well, I'm a bottom feeder, so I don't get to the top very much. But the bottom's pretty rough. I can see everybody running the middle group for a big chunk of the race.
Okay. Want to go ahead and ask you real quick, is that a Kevin Harvick throwback on your truck?
It could be. It's an old gear wrench one, so I'm not exactly sure, but it could be.
Okay. I mean, I appreciate a good livery on a car, and you've got one of the better ones out here, so I wanted to ask you about it.
All right.
Well, I think we just got the notification of 1 to go, so I'll go ahead and put you back in your team, but thank you for taking some time to talk to us.
All right, thanks. Have a good broadcast up there.
That was the number 9 of John Held. So go ahead and we'll pop back to our leader. John currently running in 12th. He started 4th. There's a drop back to 12th. So John looking, maybe he mentioned, he prefers the bottom. So we'll see over the course of a long run, that bottom really comes in. He's able to make up a lot of time. Looks like we had a rather large shakeup here to our field. If I'm seeing this correctly, a lot of folks came down pit road one more time for an extra splash of fuel. As we go back green, Gary Slapinski brings them back to the line. Someone has a terrible start. Is that the 4 of Larietti? Missed a shift. Pounded the outside wall. We'll go ahead and back and watch that. That was crazy. I believe he just missed a shift. Maybe not. Looks like maybe he just spun the tires, unable to save it. We'll go ahead and we'll ride along with him. Right along with the 50. One more time. One more look at it. Yep, looked like the truck just broke loose on him. That is unfortunate. Larietti restarted outside in 2nd. So going back live, 50 of Todd Willis currently running 4th. The 85 of Al Cena firing it down there on the bottom, trying to make a position. Oh, contact with the 59. 85 through the grass. 59 saves it, keeps it going straight. '85 got knocked through the infield. Looked like the 59 just got loose in front of Al. Take one more look at that. 59 looks like just hit a weird bump, and that shot the truck sideways a little bit, and as he was saving it, just contact with the 85. 85 goes for a wild ride through the grass. Hopefully he does not have an unsafe pit exit penalty from that. So go ahead and we'll see what the 59 got tagged a little bit. 85 knocks it back straight, goes through the grass a little bit, keeps it going straight, keeps it out of everybody's way. Excellent car control from the 59 to keep that truck going straight. And that, unfortunately for him, has dumped him down to the 13th position. See who it really hurt. 85. Alcina down to the 14th position. He's currently running 12 seconds behind the leaders. So the only real good news for him is he has a clear track and fresh air. We'll go ahead and we'll go back to the front where we have a massive wad of trucks here for Atlanta. Michael Pegg restarted back in 11th or 12th. Already up, challenging for the lead. Got a nose ahead of Gary Sapinski. Maybe he's figured something out because he is running that bottom with everybody running the top. I think that's what you maybe have to do is you got to run that bottom as hard as you can, as fast as you can early on to make up that track position. Once you're out here, you get to dictate the lane, you get to dictate the pace. Gary Sapinski trying that higher line. There's a lot of speed on the straightaways up there. You see how Michael Pegg just pulls it out. They're going through the corners. Michael Pegg already up to 0.6 of a second over Gary Slapinski just in 2 laps. Wonder if Gary's either saving something or if that top lane is just that much slower. Whatever it is, he's got the 50 of Todd Willis hanging right with him, running almost in his tire tracks. See Gary running right there, ripping the boards. That's getting that 50. Todd Willis very brave, thinking maybe he run out there, be the best thing for him. Go ahead and gentlemen we interviewed during that caution, the number 9 of John Held. John was back in 12th, currently running 4th. He's made one heck of a charge. He's up 1 position from where he qualified. Making good time down there on the bottom. He is coming right up to the back bumper slowly of Todd Willis. But because he's running that bottom, he's got fresh air all on the nose of that truck. This is going to bring him side by side to Todd. Runs a little bit higher entry into turn 3. He's able to clear Todd. It's going to bring him to the left rear. Gary Sapinski, left door, draws alongside. Gary pulls out a little bit going down the front stretch. John's got that bottom lane. He clears Gary Sapinski. Sees that momentum run, doesn't block it. Notices Gary's not going to make it to him. Goes right back to running his line from the top to the bottom. That side-by-side action slowed John down to about 2.2, 2.3 behind Michael Pegg. Now that he's out in fresh air, what kind of time can he make up on Michael? And a lot of this is going to be how brave are you on the throttle through those corners. John's got a little bit shallower exit than Michael does. But able to close it in to 2.1 seconds there, that lap. We'll go ahead and we'll watch Michael here through turns 1 and 2 as he gets it down almost there to the white line, gets right back in it. You see his exit just a little bit higher than John's. So that might be saving that right front just a little bit more for that long run. When we mentioned it, I said it was Going to be tough for him, but the 85 of Alcina making up excellent time. He's already made up a full second here on the leaders. Was 12 seconds back, is currently 11 seconds back, and there is 70 or so laps left in this race. With some heroic driving and some good pit calls, he should be able to make it back up to challenge at least for a top 10. But given the skill currently behind that wheel, my guess would be more challenging for a top 5. See the 59 of Ralph Blair here, not able to maintain the same speed that Al is. Ralph, unfortunately, not able to catch up to the back of the field here with the 89 of Randolph Richard. Randolph looking at least through turns 3 and 4 like he is preferring the bottom line. Very shallow entry. As he tries to reel in the 129, Kim Kraus. Kim currently battling the 24 of Everett Lane for the 10th position. He's able to clear Everett. Sets his sights on the number 1. So it looks like the 89 is also able to pass the 24 for position. 24 probably looking to either on a fuel saving strategy or on a tire saving strategy, just waiting for all these guys ahead of him to wear their stuff out. There's a fair number of them, so we'll go ahead and jump up to the 43 here. Each 43 is Sandy Curtis challenging the 40 of Timothy Woodson. Looks like he's able to just about clear Timothy, and he's bringing the 1 of George Rincon with him. See if they can get past the 40. Just barely Sandy's able to clear him. Like maybe he had inches to spare there on turn entry there to turn 1, but is able to get past him. So 40 throws a little bit of a side draft on the 1 to try and pull him back. And that succeeded a little bit, but the 1 is able to complete the pass going through turn 3. He is hot on the heels of Sandy Curtis. Both these guys currently working, either fighting for position, trying to be the first one in line to get the draft pull off the lap down truck of the 91 Joel Guy. Joel is currently the bridge between these. He's currently the bridge here between 7th and 6th place. So Sandy Curtis here running in 7th, trying to use that draft off of the 91 to help him catch up here with the 33 of Gary Ragland, who's fighting side by side with the 2 of Gary Sr. Sr. and Ragland running very hard side by side. This is going to, but on the one hand, it's going to slow them both down. But the other thing it's going to do, running side by side like this, it's going to really wear out their tires. The 33 is not able to slide up like he wants, and the 52 is having to stay in it really, really hard up at the top to keep ahead of the 33. He's able to get back to running that middle line as opposed to running the top. Top very, very hard on tires here in Atlanta, almost like a cheese grater. Not as bad as 2008, 2009 Indianapolis, but still very, very hard on tires. So 43 who's able to catch, really carve out the lead that 91 had over him to try and get closer to get more of a run. The 1 of George Rincon, he is sticking it low, trying to take position on the 43. George thinking maybe his truck's a little bit faster. Both these guys running very, very hard. We'll go ahead and we'll hop back. 33 and the 52 appear to have ironed out this little battle between the 2 of them, but 33 not letting the 52 go. Keep as close as he can. All this battling, what it's done is it's really separated all these guys from the 50 Todd Willis. Todd currently running about 3.5 seconds ahead of these guys, ripping the boards up there against the wall. Takes a lot of brush with the wall a little bit. Fortunately, not a full-on hit. With the time he's running behind the folks ahead of him, thinking maybe he may have had a couple brushes with the wall, that right rear might be giving way and not holding his truck down the way he needs it to. So no damage on the right side of that car, so there should be no overall impact. You see he's moved down from the wall about a half a lane. Now about a full lane, actually. You can make a lot of speed up there. And he's just in the arrow pull of Gary Slapinski, just barely. Gary opting to run the top of that second lane. Making decent time. Gary currently sitting 4 seconds back from our leader. But here's the conversation I think we need to be having. The number 9 of John Held has tracked down Michael Pegg. He was over 2 seconds behind since we last checked in on him. 9 currently running 9/10 of a second back from Michael Pegg. Just that last lap, he made up 2/10 from 1.1 seconds to 0.9. They're running very similar lines going through the corner, but John Held has the benefit of getting that pull down to 0.8 seconds going down the backstretch. And I think that's where he's making up most of his time once he got into that draft slipstream. Seemed to be making up quite a bit of time. But if I'm looking at these lap times, I'm watching how these guys are driving. John Held appears to have a better turns 1 and 2 than Michael does. Michael has a little bit better 3 and 4, and that's what's making this such an ordeal here for the 9 to make up this time. Both these guys running about 1/10 of a second difference that last time by. Nine has a much better run through turn 3 and 4 that time. Gives up nowhere near as much time, as close to 1 point. Man, it's really weird once you're breaking tenths down, but he was about 1.5 tenths better that time. So he is making up a lot of ground here on Michael Pegg. Now here's the interesting thing. Both of these drivers, both Michael Pegg here in the 777 who's leading this thing, the 9 of John Held, these two drivers both describe themselves as bottom feeders. They prefer running along that white line. Catching Michael and passing Michael here, those are two very different conversations, especially since these guys are running mirror lines. It would require the 9 to get one heck of a run coming out of the corner. Keep side by side with Michael, see if he can get him to run a line that Michael's just not comfortable running. He's come to lap 45. Sorry, 40. Yeah, 45. Michael Pegg still out front, only 4 tenths ahead. John Held, these two so, I would say so evenly matched. I think that slipstream is really what's making the difference. We're going to go ahead and we're doing a ride along here with John Held. As he runs, we're going to see these some very smooth wheel motions. Hear that expert throttle control there through turns 1 and 2. Looks like he's given just enough throttle in the corners to maintain momentum. For the most part, he's letting Michael pull him through the corners. As he closes within 1/10. Michael Pegg, I expect with as many laps as are on these tires, that truck's going to start feeling real tight with all this dirty air in front of him. hopefully John's not run into a brick wall, essentially, of dirty air. The battle between these two may come down to pit strategy. John Held last on pit road on lap 11. Michael Pegg came down two laps later to take a quick splash of fuel to get himself to go a little bit further. I think maybe he was worried a little bit about fuel mileage. But now that he's caught him, not certain the 9 knows exactly what to do. So he moves up a little bit, about a half lane higher than he usually has been running. This is exactly what we were saying, catching Michael Pegg, passing Michael Pegg. Two very different conversations. All this happening while green flag stops. That cycle appears to have started. Oh, it looks like I may have missed that by about 15 laps. I just noticed the 24 of Everett Lane is running much faster than everyone else around him. He was last down pit road 15 laps ago. Wonder if maybe there was some damage on that truck that he had to come down and just get repaired. As we reach halfway, so go ahead and we'll take a look at our third place car. Gary Sapinski started first, running third. He's currently sitting 4.5 seconds back from the leaders. Gary looked like maybe trying to the lines to see where the speed is. Just seeing that bottom lane is not carrying the speed. Sorry, that top middle lane is not carrying the lap time that he's looking for. Well, all this has been going on, though. 33 of Gary Ragland now coming to pit road, bringing the lap down truck of Joel Guy with him. If they're able to save fuel, this will be perfect, but I think this might be a little bit too early. We'll see how this shapes up. That'll go ahead and that'll give the one of George Rincon here the 4th place. And something we were talking about a little bit earlier, just a little bit, the 129, Kim Kraus, has snuck into the top 5. And look who joined him, the 85 of Al Cena, currently running 6th, looking for a way past that 129. We were talking about how a lot of smooth driving and some good pit calls. He should be able to be challenging for a top 5, and here he is challenging the top 5 here under green. Even better, look who he brought with him. The 4 of Larry Eddy came down like he had to come down pit road, but Larry right there with him, giving him a sort of an arrow push to get him up there. 7th place driver, the 43 of Sandy Curtis. Sandy running right up there against the wall, unfortunately running about 15 seconds back from the leaders. It's probably one of the first cars here really hoping for a caution to get him right back up there. He's a little brush with the wall, and that's the concern, running up there right against the wall. Just take a look here. John Held dropped back now half a second behind Michael Pegg. He was able to catch him. Wondered maybe how much did he burn up the tires getting there. I remember mentioning these cars, these trucks have anywhere between 40 and 45 laps depending on where you're running, how you're running. John Held, though, very good at managing his throttle, managing his fuel. We rode along with him. We heard how much off throttle time he had, so he may have a couple extra laps in the tank, but we should expect to see the 9 come down pit road before too long. If he comes down pit road, that's going to force the 777 to respond is, as we were talking about it, the number 9 down pit road. Looks like he's able to make pit road speed. So he'll be coming down 4 tires and fuel. We'll see how much time does our leader, Michael Pegg, want to give up. John Held was able to run 46 laps on that tank of fuel. Gary Slapinski on his 46th lap, likely be coming to pit road this time. What does Michael Pegg do? Looks like he's slow, coming down pit road. So our leader decided now's the time. Looks like locks it up a little bit. Looks like he's able to make pit road speed. And this will go ahead, and this will give the lead here to the 33 of Gary Ragland. Nope, sorry, to George Rincon here. So Michael Pegg, Gary Slapinski come down pit road, get their service. The 9 of John Held already got his service, and he's out, down, and away. So we'll see. Be interesting to see how this shapes up. Looks like maybe John had a little bit of a problem, had to repair some damage, had a 28.5 second stop. That may put him too far off Michael Pegg and Gary Slapinski. Gary currently being scored back in the 8th position, I believe. 7th position now. Michael Pegg being scored 5th. Be interesting to see how this all shapes up. Currently between Michael and Gary Slapinski, there's about a 4 or 5 second gap. We've seen Gary make up that kind of gap before. So we're seeing some hero runs from some drivers. Number 1 of George Rincon here is on his 49th lap. So he's really stretching this tank. Not just that, behind him in second, the 89 of Ralph Blair on his 50th lap on this tank of fuel. Talk about stretching fuels. 89 comes down pit road, follows the 1 to get his service. That hands the lead over to the 24 here of Everett Lane. Everett currently has, should it be Everett? Yep, is Everett. Everett currently 28 laps on these tires, so unfortunately is not going to have the longevity to make it. He's going to run out of gas well before we reach the end of this race, so he's got to be thinking when he's coming to pit. But here he is, the Flash himself, 777 Michael Pegg, shoots past Everett Lane to reclaim the lead. It won't be too long here until the 78 of Gary Slapinski, who's closed that gap down from about 4.5, 5 seconds down to 3.9. He's looking to get started working on the 24 of Everett Lane. Still a little bit of a gap there, but you'll see these fresher tires really come into play. So we'll go ahead. So this is your battle here for 5th place. The 85 of Al Cena came down pit road about 5 laps ago. Some of the freshest tires here on the track. Behind him is the number 9 of John Held. John showed a lot of speed during that long green flag run. There's only about 2 laps of difference between these two drivers' tires. these two here will be fighting very, very hard for that top 5 spot. Without a caution, though, it will be unlikely that they will be able to catch our leader, Michael Pegg. It's already going to be, I'd say, a fairly tall order for them to catch the 33 of Gary Ragland, currently running in 4th. Gary's got about a 7-second lead over those two. Unfortunately for him, running just about all by himself. This 777 of Michael Pegg starts running into the back of the field. He'll be dealing with lap down traffic, and unfortunately for him, these lap cars very comparable to his, these lap down trucks very comparable to his in their tires and the amount of fuel they have. So for the first time tonight, I'd say Michael Pegg really going to have to deal with prolonged amounts of dirty air. So he's got the 43 of Sandy Curtis in front of him. I believe that's the 4 of Larry Eddy. It is, and I do believe that's the 40. It is the 40 of Timothy Woodson. These three are punching a very big hole in the air, and all that just washing over the nose of Michael Pegg. So while he may have to take it a little bit easy behind these guys, he can't take it too easy. 78 of Gary Slapinski, seeing what he can do to maybe take advantage of this. Seems to have plateaued at about 3.9, 4 seconds behind Michael. As soon as Michael really catches this lap traffic and starts, gets within half a second, that's when he's really going to feel the effects of this dirty air. Gary Ragland here in the 33 having an absolute phenomenal night. Started 6th, currently running 4th. Has a little bit of a loose moment there coming out of turn 2. Gary Ragland, unfortunately, been a victim of a little bit of a run of bad luck here, not getting the finishes that he knows he can, just getting caught up. Maybe in other people, having to check up for someone else's loose moment, maybe caught up in a caution. He'll be having an excellent run this evening, especially once the 24 of Everett Lane brings it down pit road. He'll have to be thinking about that before too long. 36 laps on this run of tires. Here with 30 laps to go. He's given up a lot of time, though, to the trucks in front of him. Remember, Michael Pegg passed him for the lead 10, 15 laps ago, and he's 13 seconds back, so losing a lot of time to our leaders. But not just that, the 33 of Gary Ragland. He's making a fairly sizable sprint to catch the 24. He's got that gap already down to about a second. Take a look at the 85, though. 85 of Al Cena made up a lot of time while we weren't looking. He's actually made up just about that entire gap between himself and the 33. Has it down to just about 1.5 seconds, just enough that he can sniff the draft. But not only did he do that, he completely checked out from the 9. John Held just was not able to hold it there with Al Cena. Looks like maybe that 9 truck handling a little bit worse this run than the last run. Here the 24 looks like maybe 3 wide there come the exit of 2. Al Cena saw a hole, tried to fill it. Unfortunately, that slowed up both trucks in front of him. He's going to send it right there up the middle again. 24 taps the wall. 85 looks like he gets both of them in the same corner. Al Cena shoots it up to the 3rd place. Tell you who's super happy about that. It's the 85. He went from pretty far back all the way here, running third. So go ahead and we'll ride along with Al. Does not look or sound like Al Cena here is saving anything. He is trying to make up as much time as he can. Speaking of making up time, 78 of Gary Slapinski has closed from the gap from 4 seconds to just over 3. So as these laps wind down, he is slowly eating away at that lead Michael Pegg has. Michael really had a little bit of a time getting past some of that lap traffic. He's back just far enough here from the 91 that he's able to enjoy some fresh air, but that won't last for too much longer because he is catching the 91 in a hurry. More to his benefit, though, the 43 of Sandy Curtis, who was the last car on the lead lap, he has been able to pull away from Michael Pegg. You can see Michael exiting turn 3 at the top. Sorry, turn 2 at the top of your screen, just there. There's about 2/3 of a straightaway between these two trucks, so it is likely Sandy Curtis will be coming home on the lead lap just by virtue of having tires that much fresher than Michael's. As he's looking to see if he can catch up to these two, the 59 of Ralph Blair, 52 Gary Sr. Both of these drivers running very similar lap times. As Gary, unfortunately for him, has lost his drafting partner. He was getting a really good push from the 89. And as soon as he lost the 89, he lost quite a bit of time. He's moving to run in that very high lane. Does not appear, though, that it has the speed that he needs to be able to track Michael Pegg down. He gets a lot of momentum there going through the straightaways because Michael running that shorter line down there at the bottom. Gary currently sitting at about 3.7, 3.6 seconds back. And that's likely going to keep growing. Michael Pegg enjoys that fresh air as he was able to get past the 91 of Joel Guy. In practice, just about everyone was worried about that bottom line. These trucks did not seem to have much, if any, grip, especially going through over the big bumps in turn 2 and turn 4. It seemed that to be where these trucks were mostly breaking loose. But a couple of these trucks running that bottom line looks like it's really brought the rubber in, and by really laying down some rubber on the track, seems to have given the bottom a lot of grip that it did not have at the beginning. The third place here of Al Cena, slowly working on that gap. Unfortunately, it looks like not going to be able to get too much closer. Talk about the first guy in line wanting a caution. He wants to get back up there. He started third. We've seen a lot of speed out of this 85 truck. We know that if he was up just a little bit closer, he would be challenging for this lead. Just praying for a caution. who also wants a caution. 40 of Timothy Woodson. Timothy currently our first car a lap down. He would be our lucky dog recipient. How these guys are spread out and how clean they've been running this evening, that might be hoping against hope there. That's 52 of Gary Whitmer Sr. doing everything he can, just stay out ahead of the leader. Senior here running, one of the first trucks to pit on this particular cycle. Doing what he can to keep up with Sandy Curtis. Senior here choosing more that middle line. We're talking about how consistent the middle line is. Probably has some of the easiest to maintain tire wear. So Michael Pegg probably running the hardest line to master. Making up so much time on the whole field. But interestingly enough, as we were seeing, we'll see where he runs this lap. Gary Slapinski going back to running the bottom. Made up a 1/10 a second on Michael that time by, but with only 14 laps to go, I don't think there's enough time for him to make that up unless Michael makes a mistake. Makes up another 1/10 there going through 3 and 4. Looked like he was running right up there against the wall. Sorry, no, that was the truck ahead of him, the 40 of Timothy Woodson. So no, Gary's sticking it down there on the bottom. So 43. Sandy Curtis has caught Ralph Blair in the 59. This is your battle for the 6th position. Sandy running right up against that wall, but it looks like that's exactly where Ralph is running. Trying to take as much air off the nose of the 43 as he can. However, Sandy running 4-lap fresher tires. Looks like hasn't quite burned him off yet as he dives down there on the bottom. Does not look like he's going to be able to get that dive bomb to work, but he is side by side. If he can get up the track just a little bit of a side draft on the 59, maybe bring him back a little bit. That move unfortunately slowed Sandy down back behind the 59. Run that top lane, Ralph able to get back in the throttle. If he ever had to lift, to be honest, running that bottom line, you're going to have to lift, or you're just going to plow right up into the wall. Ralph, though, able to keep his foot in it for the most part. The older these tires get, the harder it is to pass on the bottom. Sandy able to keep it to the left rear quarter panel of the 59 that time. Unfortunately, not able to get the same kind of entrance that Ralph was. They're door to door going into turn 1 this time. So you're 10 laps to go. Sandy makes up just that little bit of space to see if he can slide up in front of Ralph as he's able to. As he tries to block that run going down the backstretch. Force Ralph to enter a lot lower than he's comfortable with. Sandy gets to run in that top lane. Ralph was able to get close, but just not quite get there. Sandy's able to take that spot. Currently running in the 6th position. As he sets his sights to see if maybe he can catch the 33 here of Gary Ragland. Gary's tire is even older than Ralph's. Sandy seeing if he can make up that about 4-second gap here in the last 9 laps of the race. Certainly doable. Speaking of really chewing away at leads, Gary Slapinski has chewed that down from 3.5 to 2.5, made up almost a full second there in about, I want to say 8 laps. See if he has enough time to make up the rest of that. Thinking maybe the 777 had some issues getting past the 52 of Gary Sr. There's only about 4 laps difference, and we saw how much effort it took for Sandy Curtis to get past Ralph Blair, and there's only 4 tires difference in their 4 laps different in their tires there. Once Michael Pegg was able to get clear, though, of the 52, be able to get back to running his line. Gary Slapinski now be presented with the exact same issue, getting past the 52. So he gets a good run on him. Question is he going to have the momentum to clear him? 52 is able to get back in the throttle. Gary just barely ahead of him. We see the 91 ahead scraping the wall. A little bit of a problem with that truck, although, you know, just that little bit of time side by side with the 52 slowed Gary Slapinski down. That might be exactly what Michael Pegg here needed. So this would be a tall order here for Michael Pegg to have that lead eaten away by Gary Slapinski. 2-second gap in only 5 laps. So was it the 91 scraping the wall again there on the exit? Turn 2, running that higher lane. Maybe that truck on, I mean, looking like he's on some fairly old tires. The right rear going away, just not able to keep that truck where he wants it. We mentioned it, and it happened. Both the 43 and the 59, these two still running very, very close together, battling now for the 4th position. These two were able to catch and pass the 33 of Gary Ragland, who's fallen back to 7th place. Shows you the kind of speed Michael Pegg has. Michael catches and laps the 33. That's got to give the people ahead of him some concern. Gary Slapinski, though, with all that, able to make up half a second on Michael. 2 laps to go. Might not have, don't think he has the time to make all that up. If he was saving something, maybe just not able to save enough. He's 1.4 back from Michael currently. Unfortunately, the 85 of Al Cena had to come down pit road. Looked like maybe ran out of fuel there. Let's go ahead and we'll take a look. That's given the 3rd place here to the number 9 at John Held, who unfortunately was not able to keep pace with the 2 guys ahead of him. Definitely looks like maybe the way the track is rubbered in, not super helpful to him. So we go back to the lead. Michael Pegg here, making his way through turns 3 and 4. Gary Slapinski 1.1 seconds behind. Michael Pegg takes the checkered flag. Gary Slapinski brings it home in 2nd. Number 9 of John Held, and making his way through turns 3 and 4. Should be coming home 3rd. Ralph Blair in the 59 in 4th. Gary Sr. coming home in 5th. Looks like the 43 had to come down pit road. Unfortunately, just not enough fuel to make it through to the end. It's unfortunate for him. So Michael Pegg burns it down. We'll go ahead and gather up your top 3 for interviews. Take a minute to appreciate that burnout. Alrighty, and we have our top three here. We'll start with our third place finisher, Mr. John Held. John, this is William in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
Well, this has been a mighty treat to get to talk to you twice in one race. Brought it home third. Looked like maybe that truck didn't handle quite right on that second run. Go ahead and walk us through that second run.
That wasn't my big problem. The big problem that I had was when I went in for the pit, stopped to get tires. I didn't have my tires checked off, so I had to sit there for an extra 15 seconds or 14 seconds, whatever it was.
Oh, that's painful. That is absolutely painful. Unfortunate, because you were definitely probably one of the fastest, if not the fastest truck we had here tonight. I believe, actually, yes, you have one of the better average lap times tonight. We were able to really track down Michael during that first long green flag run. How were you able to do that?
Yeah, I saved a little bit on the whole run. But yeah, I had a good truck on the long runs tonight. But when I caught him, I got some big arrow push, so I thought I'll just stay back a little bit behind him here. We'll try to give him a go in the second half of the race. But yeah, then I messed up. So didn't know how it's going to play out. Can't make any mistakes against these guys.
I was very unfortunate not being able to get your tires changed there where you needed it. But excellent run tonight. I mean, even with that, you were able to hold off just about everyone behind you for that third place finish. So want to congratulate you. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Well, again, we'll thank Lucky Dog and yourself, William, putting this on tonight, my family, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas to you as well, John. Thank you for talking to us, and we'll look forward to talking to you next time.
Sounds good. See you guys.
We'll go ahead and we'll move on to our second place driver, the number 78, Gary Sapinski. Gary, William in the booth. You got me?
Yeah.
Fantastic run tonight. Started first, finished second. Notice you were one of the few drivers really experimenting with all three lanes tonight. What were you noticing?
Well, on that first caution, I didn't take tires, so I was looking at Peg's lap times, and I was seeing where I was getting quicker or faster or the same. He had the 10 lap pressure tires, so I was trying to figure it out. Then that second run that I came in, we had even tires, and I was kind of worked that to my advantage a little bit, but kind of fell short there. I should have taken tires that first one, and Peggy I'm taking tires. I think it's gonna be a lot more cautions, but I guess not. It just kind of fell short on that one.
We had several incidents tonight. It was good saves by the drivers involved. I did notice there on that last run, you were really able to catch Michael, especially once he made it into lap traffic. I mean, you got through it pretty quick there. How were you able to negotiate the lap traffic quite so fast? I noticed you didn't have, you were able to really send it into the corners to get by him really fast.
Yes. I seen the guys coming. I try to set them up to where I'd be quick, and I sailed it in there and try to get them. If I can catch them in the center of the corner and I can just sail it off, I'll be fine. And so happens it worked out that way. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. It depends on who you're racing with, if they're kind and they'll let you pass them. So it all depends on that.
Well, it looks like you had a fantastic run this evening. We talked to you, I think, just about every race. Probably one of the most consistent drivers that I have the pleasure of talking to. So I always want to thank you for giving on putting on a fantastic show. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
I'm going to thank you, William. Doing a great job tonight. I'm going to thank Lucky Dog Racing. It's a great league. The people out there should, if there are some other racers to, give an invite. Come on in and race with us here and try to beat Peg here. I tried to beat him tonight. Fell a little short. Gonna have to put some crazy glue or something on the pedal so he can't, take his foot off it, hit the brake or something. I don't know. Now he's looking down underneath there now. Hey, get out of there. But I'll thank Peg and Brian and everybody out there watching tonight. Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to all of you. Thank you.
Well, Merry Christmas to you as well, Gary. Thank you for taking time to talk to us, and look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you.
So we'll go ahead and we'll go finally to our leader, our winner here, 777 of Michael Pegg. Michael, this is Women in the Booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
How many in a row is that?
I don't know.
You've
I don't
been
know.
on a roll, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been quite a roll. Last 45 days, something like that.
It has been absolutely phenomenal to watch. So it was interesting, speaking of things that were phenomenal to watch, interesting watching the line you chose to run. I know that during practice, everyone was real worried about that bottom line being really loose. You made it work all night long. I mean, how long did it take for that bottom line to really get comfortable?
It was not. You just had to look in the rearview mirror and see that 78 coming. You had no choice. John Held was all over me. I had no choice. I was trying everything to get away.
Well, I mean, I noticed, we did a ride along with you, and very smooth wheel inputs. You're very smooth on your throttle as well. Was the bottom ever really, was it loose the whole time, or did it ever tighten up?
It's like you said, if you had throttle control and you could do it, then it would work. If not, I suggest running high. It was a lot easier to run high. But if you had the throttle control, yeah, you could run the corners.
Yeah, no, and it looked like there were very few people who were able to, find that speed down there at the bottom. I mean, you, John Held, Larry, Gary Sapinski, Al Cena, unfortunately, had to come down pit road. He was making excellent time there on the bottom. Trying to figure out how to ask this question. Once you were in front and John Held caught up to you, did you think maybe the fact that you were running that bottom, that's really what was stopping him from really getting closer than he was able to?
Yeah, I wasn't sure what happened there. I noticed he backed off, and then I saw him shot in the pits. I was trying to figure out what line he was running because he kept catching me. He's catching me. He kept catching me. And it was slowly, and then he got up on me, and then I was able to pull away a little bit. And then I saw him shot in the pits. I was like, uh-oh. If I don't go now, he could get away from me. And the next thing I know, I don't know where he went.
Yeah, we saw a lot of tire fall off over the course of the run. I want to say that last run, 44 laps, you guys lost over 2 seconds of time. You obviously can't let a car that fast have that much more fresh tires than you.
No, you just had to drive it pretty much wide open to get it to handle right. If you let up going into the corner, that low corner, you weren't going to be able to get the corner. You just pretty much had to go into it just wide open and then lift a little and then back to wide open again.
And that's probably what makes the Legacy Virgin of Atlanta so interesting, is I think that's probably one of maybe 2 tracks on the entire Lucky Dog circuit that you have to drive like that.
Yeah, it's tough, especially that 1 and 2. If you're not careful, it'll get away from you when you come out the top on turn 2.
Yeah, that jut out on the wall there on the top caught a few people out tonight, but excellent run tonight. I think you led probably the vast majority of the laps tonight. Certainly the truck to beat. So congratulations. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yes, sir. I want to thank you, William, for Lucky Dog Broadcasting. I want to thank all the Lucky Dog members. I want to thank everybody. Merry Christmas. And I want to thank FOC. I want to thank Tracy, Molly, and Cash. And I want to thank Brian and for running the show, and Gary tonight for running hard, and John Held, he was right there. It was a good race tonight.
That was a very good race tonight. Merry Christmas to you as well. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us, and we'll talk to you next time.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy.
Now to go ahead and round us all out for tonight. Lucky Dog Thursday trucks, 100 laps, very good race. Enjoyed some very good green flag racing. So I believe we still have our late model stock short track series tomorrow night. I believe we also still have our Xfinity Super Speedways on Saturday. I do not believe we will be running a race on Monday, as if I remember correctly, Monday should be Christmas. So we want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Enjoy the holiday with your families. If you enjoyed what you saw, give us a Christmas present. Drop in a like, maybe a comment, maybe subscribe if you like what you saw. But you should be hearing from me Tuesday, December 26th, for our next Gen 6 race. I look forward to talking to you then. Until then, have a good one.